Super Bowl 47, 2013, the Ravens versus the 49ers. Alicia Keys sang the national anthem. Beyoncé was the halftime entertainment. In the fourth quarter, this came on.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
This was an ad that featured nothing but a Paul Harvey speech with a series of still images that were edited over the top. That year, I was at a house with a group of friends, and we were having a Super Bowl party, and we were having food, laughing, hanging out, watching the game, having a good time, all the stuff you do at a Super Bowl party. And most of the people in that group, there were about 6 of us that were there, are photographers. This ad came on, and it immediately got our attention. We watched the entire ad, and by the end, the entire group was silenced.
God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer.
Advertising is an art form. Now, it is an art form that is rarely done well. My uncle, who I've always admired, spent his entire career in the ad business. And one of the many things I learned from him is that when you're advertising, you're not really competing against your competition necessarily. You're competing for attention. And one of my favorite metaphors that he used to use all the time was, if you're going to crash a party, you better have a good bottle of wine.
God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painin' from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer.
A few thoughts on what I think makes a successful advertisement. 1, simplicity. Remember, you're competing for people's attention, and people have only so much that they're willing to give you if they don't know you. Which leads me to point number 2. People are not stupid. It's okay to use irony. It's okay to use metaphor. It's okay to be simple and creative. You don't need to spell every little thing out, which actually leads me to the third point. You're advertising to humans, and as humans, we like to connect on an emotional level. We don't exist to just buy stuff. We exist for relationships.
God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer.
This ad works because of its simplicity. The audio is a speech that was taken from 1978 of Paul Harvey addressing the future farmers of America. And over the top is nothing but a series of still photographs. Now, I'm obviously drawn to this as a photographer, but it's extremely well done, and all of the images support the words that are being spoken.
It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk. Somebody who'd bale a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
Another reason that this commercial is really special to me is that it was directed by a friend of mine, a gentleman named Jimmy Bonner, who works at the Richards Group as an art director. Richards Group is a really large ad agency here in Dallas. It was founded by a gentleman named Stan Richards, who I've had the opportunity to meet on several occasions. One of the things that I love that Stan always talks about is when you think of branding in the world of advertising, you think of logos, you think of typefaces, you think of colors, or maybe even taglines. Branding is not a logo. Branding is a promise, and there's a big difference between the two. Let me give you an example. For instance, you might have a favorite restaurant that you like to go to. I am willing to bet that you do not go there because you like their logo or the font they used on the menu. You go to your favorite restaurant because of the experience involved. You know what to expect with the people who work there. You know how you're treated when you walk in the door. You know what the quality of the food is, and that's what makes it a favorite restaurant. The same could be said for getting your oil changed or when you need to go buy clothes. You have an experience, and that is what that promise is. Stan also talks about this idea that gets overexplained sometimes, but this idea of spherical branding, where all of the elements that you are going to do in terms of advertising, whether that be a TV commercial, whether that be a brochure or a magazine ad or whatever that is, they all revolve around that brand or promise. And I'll give you a really interesting example that you probably didn't know about that TV commercial. When it was released, Ram Trucks put out a challenge, and basically they said that they would donate $100,000 for every 1 million views that video got on YouTube to the Future Farmers of America, up to $1 million. They reached the $1 million goal in 5 days. That is the difference between selling stuff and developing relationships. Now, I live in Texas, and I guarantee you, when I turn on the television, there is no shortage of truck commercials.
Trucks, 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 trucks.
Sometimes I even let my girl drive it.
5 minutes from downtown Dallas.
The all-new Nissan. I don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here.
I think you can tell the difference. Anyway, I will link up to the full God Made a Farmer video at the end of this video, as well as I will put links in the show description to some of my friend Jimmy's stuff. Jimmy Bonner is an incredible designer, an amazing art director, and he's actually a really good photographer as well. And he does some stuff on Instagram, and I will put a link to that in the show description. And I've known Jimmy for years, and we were working on some other projects, not through Richard's Group, but during the time that he was doing that TV ad, and I did hear some behind the scenes, and I knew that ad was coming. There's a lot to respect there, and one other thing I want to say about this, and this is where I have the utmost respect for people who are able to make something like that. If you've ever done any commercial work, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about, but particularly in the ad agency world, a lot of money is being exchanged, and running a Super Bowl ad costs millions of dollars. And if you've ever seen the TV show Mad Men, I mean, it's very high drama and very nostalgic, but they communicate that point in there too, that oftentimes when a client is spending a bunch of money to hire somebody that is an expert on something to get a job done for something that they're spending even more money on, that you have sometimes with certain clients this feeling that they should be able to put stuff in, even though they've hired somebody to direct them on what should be put in the ad. And it's so rare to see something that is this simple. In fact, I really haven't seen it since, and even last night when I was watching some of the Super Bowl ads, some of them are very funny, some of them are great, but none had the maturity and this contemplative nature to it and this kind of tone that really spoke well. And for a designer and a team and an art director to agree on that direction with a client, you have to have an enormous amount of trust. You have to be able to pitch that, and it makes the work even more impressive than, if you don't know that. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, share it, and subscribe to The Art of Photography for more videos. I will see you guys in the next one. Go watch God Made a Farmer. I'll see you in the next video. Later.